Welcome to Latter-day Life Coaches, the podcast where each episode is a conversation between me, Heather Rackham, and one of my amazing coach colleagues. Each coach here is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and certified through the Life Coach School. Together, we have one main goal, helping you live your best life no matter what. You ready for this conversation with the coach? Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast today. We are continuing our Come Follow Me series, and I am really excited for this set of scripture that we get to talk about today through the lens of a life coach. And joining me is Coach Sherylee Kartchner. Hi, Sherylee. How are you today?
I'm doing so good. Thanks for having me,
Good.
Heather.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you on and to have this conversation with you. I say it all the time with this series. We're not scriptorians. We're really good life coaches. And I love the angle that we're able to take because of our professions and our experience and the clients that we work with and the training we've had. So this is going to be fun. We're in the book of Esther this week, and I love Esther. But we're going to kind of take some different perspectives on it. But before we get started, I would love for you to introduce yourself to us, Sherylee, so everybody can get a little glimpse into who you are.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, I am Sherylee Kartchner. I live in sunny Arizona, so when this comes out, it is going to be hot here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. We have beautiful weather many, many, many months of the year. But I am a certified life coach, and I love helping women who've raised their children in the church, and those children are now making choices that they don't really align with or don't love. And I think that hits home for a lot of us. I've sat in a lot of sacrament meetings, Relief Society meetings, conversations with friends, and just the heaviness and the heartache that we feel when things don't turn out the way that we thought they would or pictured that they would, whether it's children telling us they're leaving the church or they just, aren't showing up like we thought they would. So that's who I love to help and I love to serve. I'm a mom of 4 adult sons. I have 3 beautiful daughter-in-laws and a girlfriend-in-law, and then I now have 4 beautiful little grandkids, 2 girls and 2 boys. So our family is just amazing right now. We are loving where we are at.
You know what I grabbed onto is that you didn't say when our lives didn't turn out how they should have, but you said how we didn't think they were going to. And because those are very different things, and getting stuck in that this is how it should have been cycle is so hard and so difficult. But recognizing that it's just how we thought it was going to be it helps us so much. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more today, but thank you for framing it that way, whether you meant to or not. That's what I heard. And that's what I really appreciated.
Oh. Yeah, I think we all have a vision, a picture of what it's going to look like. And I don't know that very many of us, if any, that picture ends up being exactly the way that we thought it would.
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Okay, so we get to talk about Esther, like I said. I love Esther, and I want to know what your thoughts are as we dive into her and these set of scriptures a little bit more.
Well, I love what you said at the first, that we're not scriptorians, because I am so far from being a scriptorian. I can sit in Sunday school class and they'll ask questions and somebody will answer, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that that's what that meant, or that's an interesting take, or you listen to the podcasts of those that are scriptorians, and I'm like, well, they understand and see things way differently than I do. But the story of Esther is so beautiful. We're talking about a young girl who had a rough start. Not only was she orphaned, but she was driven out of her home. She did have somebody who loved her that took care of her, but she had a hard go. And then through a series of really interesting events, she ends up becoming a queen. And because of that, she's kind of placed in a space where she didn't know what she was there for, probably, but it was like divine timing because of our heavenly parents, like because of God's hand. She was where she needed to be to help save her people. That's what I love the most about the story is, I tie that in with, as mothers, as parents, as daughters of God, just understanding and seeing God's timing in all that we have going on, or trusting in that timing, even if we can't see the timing, is really important lesson for all of us.
It's a very extremely difficult thing to do, trusting in that timing. We want things like right now, and why do I have to wait?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you're right in your thinking there, or I appreciate your thinking there, that there was a timing there that she got to be a part of and really had to be patient with and trusting that God had his hand in this. Which, by the way, I think what something is interesting about these set of scriptures is that God's not really mentioned in the book of Esther. I didn't come to that on my own. That took somebody else pointing that out for me to see. Once
Yes,
again,
me too.
not a scriptorian, but, and I was like, oh, like that's so true. Like he's never specifically mentioned, but he's there everywhere. And I
Yes.
think that was a really, when I stumbled upon that thought, it made me really think of my own life. But yeah, and this has kind of been a moment where sometimes I have felt like he's really quiet in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I look at it from that perspective, but he also is everywhere, it
Yes.
changes, it gives me direction. And if I'm looking for him, I'm able to see him. So that's kind of like a
Yeah.
hidden thing that's not there, but we learn from it not being there.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when we're in the middle of a hard situation, it's hard to see him. I mean, we can trust that he's there, but we don't even see his timing, and maybe until later on. At least
Hmm.
that's been my experience when
Yeah.
I've gone through some hard things. When I look back, when it settles down just a little bit and I've got to the other side of something really hard, I look back and I see it all over, and it's just so beautiful. And it just kind of validates and gives me hope and more peace and more trust for the next time that, I'm in the middle of something that I wouldn't really want to go through, but
Hmm.
that's what happens in life.
It's so true. And to your point, we don't notice those things in the midst of them, but there is an academic term. It's called post-traumatic stress. Or sorry, I'm saying that it's not post-traumatic stress. It's post-traumatic growth. Like there is such a thing
Oh, okay.
as post-traumatic growth. And when we have been through, whether you consider it trauma, maybe it's big trauma, maybe it's smaller trauma. It's different for everybody. There's no, what might be big to somebody else might be small to somebody, and vice versa.
Hmm.
But either way, there is growth that takes place within us, both physically and emotionally. And I think for it to have the most growth, it is beneficial for us to look back on it and to see the growth that has taken place, to actually think about it, journal about it, recognize it, I think is very beneficial for us to recognize that. And to also, I think part of that recognizing is giving thanks, I think, to our heavenly
Yes.
parents. And I don't know that I find myself being like, I'm not thanking you for this trial. I'm not thanking you for the things that happened. And I also don't subscribe to the thought that he gives us things so that we have to do things hard. I don't know. I have a hard time. I don't know that he just throws things at us just because, so that we have to grow. I think that they're a natural consequence of things that are happening in our life for the most part. But I'm not really, I'll find myself saying, I'm not thankful that I had to experience this, but I am thankful for the things that I've learned. I'm thankful for what's come of
Yes.
it. And anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a few things that I've been through that I don't want to go through again, but they are some of the most beautiful, spiritual, tender things that we've ever experienced, whether it was me personally or as a family. I would not trade those moments where we had to come together to support one another, but it doesn't mean I want to sign up for it again. So I don't know if that means I'm weak or human. Well, I am very much just a, messy human like all the rest of us, but
I was going to say that I for sure don't think it means you're weak. I think it just means you're human, because I think that's the way all of us are. So,
yes, yes. One of my other favorite things in the story of Esther that I want to tie in with the women that I help is that famous, I guess it's probably the verse that we all remember the most. It's Esther 4:14. And it says, for such a time as this, that she
mhm.
was placed there for that time. And if my memory serves me correctly, I believe it was Mordecai that said that to her. But I also feel that so deeply in my heart for the women that I help, that you are there for this time. You're there whether it's for the choices your kids are making and you're there to love and support them, or you're there for some other women. I just feel very passionate about we are here for this time. What you have going on around you is for you. You are the one to help and to support and to love and to connect with those who you love, no matter how it's looking at home.
Hmm. I wonder if you've ever experienced this, but there's been things in my life where I'm like, this just doesn't make sense that I'm experiencing this right now, which most things I feel like they don't have to make sense, right? But I'll
Yeah.
just, like my thought will be, why am I experiencing this? Or this is so random. Why is this coming about? And it won't be long before I'll come across somebody close in my life who is experiencing the same thing. And I'll think, oh, I understand why now. Like this person, maybe they just needed somebody who had some understanding for this particular situation. Not that there's anything I could do or say or would do or say, but just it gave me compassion and understanding for what they would be experiencing in their life. So I think that phrase, for such a time as this applies in so many ways. Just having that perspective can shift so many things for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I sometimes want to know the how. Like, I think as moms, we want to fix things and make it better. And so
Mhm.
we want to know how, especially if we can't fix something, like, okay, how is this going to work out? But if we can trust that we're here for this time and just step back and trust in the plan, trust in loving heavenly parents, trust in a savior that came for all of us, the how it unfolds. And it may not be something we see for a very long time, but there's miracles that happen. Little things get put in pathways that we don't foresee or understand or can't even explain.
Mhm. That brings up something else because I think when you said that, I thought, yes, there's been so many times where I have wanted to like rescue a child from the discomfort that they're feeling, but I can't fix it. I can't take it away. Like I can be here, I can sit with them, but Mordecai, also the same thing. He didn't rescue Esther from her discomfort, but he was there with her. He didn't say, "Oh, you don't have to do this. I'll take care of it." He didn't say, "You'll be fine
Yeah.
either way," which I think I just said that to one of my kids last night. "Oh, you'll be fine." ah, anyway, but he said to her, "You may have been placed here for such a time as this, right?"
Yeah.
And what a valuable thing for us to learn as parents to do and
Yeah.
sit with
Yeah.
our kids rather than trying to fix or, whether we're fixing their problem or fixing them. Because a lot of times I think when our kids are doing things that or stepping away from traditional values that we've taught them, we think there's something within them that needs to be fixed. And that's not a helpful way for us to look at it either. So
No.
it's just a matter of us sitting with them, knowing there's nothing in them that needs to be fixed. We're not trying to fix
Yes.
their situation, but we get to let them experience life just how it is.
When we can get to that place, and it took me a long time to get there, I probably, I don't know, self suffered for 20 years just because of choices my kids were making, wondering what I did wrong. How do I fix this? How do I, what do I need to do now? And in that suffering, I thought it was on me, and it really wasn't. Like, I did my job. Some days, maybe not as good as others. I was nowhere near a perfect mom, which there is no perfect moms. There's just millions of really great moms on this planet doing their best, showing up. Some days, showing up a little more human than we want to be. But when I was able to get to that place of there is nothing for me to fix, my child is amazing as they are. It just brought me peace. And I don't, I'm not looking at, replaying conversations in my head, wondering, okay, if this comes up, what do I need to say just right? Or rethinking conversations over and over and over and wishing I would have said something different. Because when you have that mentality of, I need to fix this, or that mindset of, I need to fix this. I need to make it right. Or my eternal family is broken. How do I repair what I'm seeing instead of trusting in God's plan, trusting in a savior who came and he has taken it on for all of us already. There's nothing that we need to do. We just need to trust in them and their timing and just hand it over to them and step back. And then I think when we show up that way, I think it feels different for our kids. Like I feel like those conversations feel different and they feel that love as opposed to, yeah, they'll love me when I'm doing it the way they want me to do. It just feels
Mm.
more connection and more genuine.
I don't know how they couldn't feel that. Whether we know it or not, we are giving out energy, and if the energy is coming from, is fear based, our kids are they are going to
Yeah.
feel that. But if it's love based, they feel that too. And
Yeah.
we got to watch ourselves. And here's the thing. Sometimes I've seen with people is, well, if I just love them enough, then they're going to come back and everything will be
Yeah.
okay. And that's still, it's really sneaky, but there's still
Yeah.
fear in there. And
Yeah.
so you got to watch that too. It's
Yeah.
genuine. I love that you said they're just fine, just how they are. And
Yeah.
there's no asterisks, there's no and if or buts about it, or but one day they will. That's not it. It's like it's right,
Yes.
it's they're perfect for them at this very moment in time.
Yeah. And we all have a journey and a path, and they all look different. Every path we take and every step we take is for us, and theirs is going to have more bumps or different bumps and more curves and different curves than ours. It's just so individual, and it's like trusting in a heavenly Father who has abilities beyond what we can even comprehend. That's where I love to land because there's times I do get worried and I do have some fear about things. And then when I realize, oh, wait, we have heavenly parents that have abilities that go far beyond anything I can understand. And they know us in ways that we don't even understand.
Mhm.
It just settles my heart and brings me peace. And then I can love unconditionally is kind of how it shows up. Like they don't feel like, yeah, you love me or you would love me if it's just, yeah, they know that they're loved.
Mm. That is so good. What's coming to my mind right now, and I can't even remember the name of the book. If I looked over to my books over here, I might be able to. Oh, it's called That We May Be One. It was written quite a few years ago by Elder Christofferson, and
Okay.
he is talking about his mother and the differences in their family. And he's talking about a brother who was living his life different than the rest of their family, thought that maybe he should, and
Mm-hmm.
his mom said to Elder Christofferson and his siblings, listen, and I'm remembering this from a long time ago, so I'm just paraphrasing. I'll probably get it wrong, but the gist should still be the same. We're not perfect. None of us is perfect, but I do believe we can love perfectly. And
Mm-hmm.
that has stuck with me for so long because, well, for many reasons, but it's so true. Like none of us are perfect. We're not expected to be perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect, but we can love in a way that is perfect. And what
Yeah.
that looks like is different for everybody, but that is charity. That's Christ-like love. And it's within all of us. We all have that capacity. And I think that was just a beautiful message. And I have always been grateful for
Yeah.
that perspective.
That is really, yeah, that is beautiful. And not that I get it right every time and I don't have moments of like,
Oh,
you guys are so frustrating at times, but it doesn't take me down a path of just such sadness and wondering where I went wrong and that shame. I can check myself pretty quick and, might be a day or two, might be a week or so, once in a while. But for the most part, I can get myself back to feeling the peace that I feel. And I, for one, it feels so much lighter and better than
yeah,
carrying the burden of what I think should have happened or their choices on my shoulders when it's not mine to carry.
right. I actually was just having a conversation with one of my friends earlier this week, and how she was upset with some of the decisions, with the way some of her kids were living their life. And that concept, that idea that, yes, not only is she experiencing grief because it's different than what she thought it was going to be, which I think is very
Mm-hmm.
important for us to recognize is going to be part of our story, right? There is going
For
to be
sure.
grief. But
Of
when
course, yeah.
we pile shame on top of that, like I should have been different, I should have been a better mom, you're then experiencing grief and shame. And you could also then
Mm-hmm.
experience shame for thinking, well, I shouldn't be feeling this grief. Because I think sometimes that
Yes.
comes along too. Like you think, I should know that this is okay. And I think we fall
Yeah.
into that trap as coaches because we've done so much work ourselves. And we can see that with our clients too, right? Like, I know
Yes.
better. I know better than to be upset about this. But that's not reality, right? Like we can
Yeah.
allow ourselves to feel that grief. Grief is going to be part of the story and it could circle back at any point in time that we're going to feel that grief. But
Yeah.
if we feel
Yeah.
like we shouldn't feel that grief, or if we start to think, I should have done this better, I should have been like the shame, the combination of those two is just not, it's not great.
No, no. And nothing is worse than when we like just keep layering on some negative emotions and making us feel even worse and worse. But part of Esther's journey was that I was reminded of when I was rereading it. She was afraid. Just because we know that we have heavenly parents doesn't mean that we don't have negative feelings. I think
Yes.
we're meant to still have that human experience. She had fear and she also had faith. You know, having faith doesn't mean that we don't have fear and worry, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also really nice to be able to kind of land in that place of like, okay, I really don't need to worry. I'm worrying, but I don't have to, like let it eat me up for days and weeks,
Yeah.
whether we need to find a coach, whether every time I get coached, it's always like, oh, I should know this better than I do. Like, why am I still getting caught in these patterns, like you were just saying?
Uh-huh.
Because we're human. But, all of the emotions, we're supposed to have them. But we can also live in a place where it doesn't just dictate our lives for so many years and months.
Yeah. Where do you sit in this? We used to hear this kind of phrase frequently, but it was like faith and fear cannot coexist. And I just want to know, I want to know what you think about that.
I think they do coexist. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's very much necessary. And I'm sure I've heard that too. Like, if you have faith and you don't have fear, I really think that it's hand in hand. There's times we have fear about things, that we're afraid of things, and it's okay. That doesn't mean we don't have faith.
Thank you. I felt like that. Sorry. I feel like I was leading the witness. Like, I think that was a leading question. I want to know how you
That's
feel
okay.
about faith and fear because I was really trying to hold myself back from saying, because I don't believe in that. I don't believe that faith and fear
No.
can't coexist. I think it stifles us from doing things that we could do and are meant to do. I know there's been times in my life where I've thought, if I'm feeling fear right now, that must be the spirit telling me that I'm not supposed to do this. When actually,
Oh,
if I had bought into that and if I had believed it, there are so many things that my life wouldn't have in it right now because I believe that. And my soul really tried to believe that. I really wanted to be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it because I feel fear. And that must mean that I'm not supposed to do it.
yeah.
But that's just not true. It's just our brain
No.
actually doing what it's supposed to do and
Yes.
trying to keep us safe. And so I don't know. I'd like to just debunk that theory that faith and fear can't
Yeah.
coexist.
Well, and I think it can go hand in hand with so many emotions. Like, I feel like we can have happiness and also kind of be sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a one and done thing. We're supposed to have all of the emotions, and that's what makes us human. And that's what makes us, I don't know, connect with other people,
Yeah.
is because we can feel.
Mm-hmm. For
So,
sure.
yeah, no, I very much agree that we can have faith and fear at the same time. I'm someone that carries a lot of fear. I've been told that
Mm.
by, I don't know, different people before, that like, oh, the energy I get from you is you have a lot of fear. And I'm like, yeah, I would agree with that.
I did not
Whether
need you
it's
to tell me
over,
that.
yep, yep, feeling it already.
Oh, my word. Yeah.
So,
I think that this idea of fear obviously is fear's not comfortable. None of us enjoy feeling fear. And I think we can probably say the same for Esther. Like you said, there was fear there, but she had been in a comfortable position, right? She was protected before she decided that she needed to step out and to do some uncomfortable things. She was in a place of comfort, right? She was protected. She was chosen. She was in a position of influence. And she knew that speaking up would cost her all of those comforts,
Yeah.
right? Like it would
Yeah.
put her into a very uncomfortable situation. And I think that so many of us do that. Like we're fine. Our life is comfortable. It's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really need to be any better, because I'm just fine how I am. But I always I wonder, well, what if there's more? And I'm sure that that's a question that Queen Esther finally came around to. Like, well, what if there's more? There could be more. I'm comfortable, but could it be
Yeah.
better? And I
Yeah.
think that that's a really important question for all of us to
Yeah.
ask when we are feeling that comfort and not really
Yes.
too excited about being uncomfortable.
Well, and I think God is preparing us for holy work, whatever that looks like for each one of us. And that usually comes with some discomfort
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of discomfort
Yeah.
in the middle of ordinary lives and hard seasons. Like, I feel like He's there preparing us, or He has prepared us, or He shows up and helps us be stronger than we even know that we are. That's what I have always felt, that He there's things you think about and you're like, oh, I could never go through that. And then you go through something, maybe not that exact thing, but you go through something hard and you think, okay, I see where He stepped in and He helped me and He gave me strength that I did not know I had.
Mm.
And I think that's what part of getting out of that comfortable season can feel like.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're out of it by our own choices, and other times it's choices of others. But yeah, it's His holy work is what I feel.
Oh, for sure. And then when we recognize that, oh, I was able to do that, it almost gives us proof for the next time that something comes and is uncomfortable. And we're like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't know that I want to do this uncomfortable thing. I don't know that I'm capable. We actually have proof if we look back
Yes.
at our own
Yeah.
stories. Oh, I've done the uncomfortable before. I didn't love it,
Yeah.
but look at what it did for me in my life. We see that post-traumatic growth, right? And we recognize that, and I
Yeah.
can do it again. I can do it again.
Yeah. I love it. I'm writing down post-traumatic growth because I don't know that I've heard that before.
Well, I
Or if
could
I
be
have, it
saying
didn't land in my head. So
I could be saying the phrase wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that is, I wish that I knew off the top of my head who to credit that to, but it's anyway, it's
well, I
there
like it,
someplace.
whether it's right or wrong. I like, yeah, the post-traumatic growth is it's beautiful, especially when you can see God's hand in it,
Hmm.
after it may take a little while, but that's where I've landed and just love feeling that and seeing that and trusting in that.
Yes. And I think when we see his hand in it, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it's sanctified. Is that the word? Like
Hmm.
it's then like it has meaning, it has purpose, it has a why behind the discomfort.
Yes.
And I don't know, that just adds a layer of beauty to it that maybe wasn't there before.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I love it.
All right. Is there anything we're missing about Esther that we wanted to talk about before we wind up
Oh,
here?
I just think the last thing I would want to say is that we learn from Esther that we can have faith, trust, courage, even when we can't see the how.
Mm.
And I don't know if I'm someone that wants to know the how more than others, but that's kind of, I do really like to know how. But I am learning to really just trust in my heavenly parents and just know, you know what? I don't need to know the how. They've got this. And it's going to be better than I could even figure out or
Mhm.
imagine. So,
So good. So true. That trust that's the faith, right? Trusting is
mhm.
synonymous, I believe, with faith. And
Yes.
That's what we believe in. That's the first principle and ordinance of the gospel, right? Is faith
Yes.
in the Lord Jesus Christ. And it is in that faith that so many
Yeah.
things happen and are created. I think everything happens and is created through that power of faith. So, Sherylee,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Oh,
I love Esther, and I love looking at her a little bit deeper from this different lens, and I appreciate your perspectives on it. So before we leave, can you share with people how that they can connect with you?
yeah, I would love to. So I'm on the social medias. It's just Sherylee Kartchner Coaching. And then I also have a website, SheryleeKartchner.com. And I do have a podcast that's called Open Conversations for LDS Moms. So I just talk about this sort of a thing, how we can have trust and faith and the hard things and, difficult conversations maybe that we have with our loved ones or that we hear at church that rub us a little bit wrong. So
Mm.
you can find me in all of those places.
Well, thank you. I am so happy to have had this conversation today, and I am excited for people to have you as a resource. And we will link to all of those things in the show notes to make it easy for you to find. And thank you.
Thank you so much. I have loved this conversation.
It's been great. All right, everybody, we will see you again next week. And until then, enjoy your summer. Hey, we just wanted to thank you for spending part of your day here with us at Latter-day Life Coaches and being part of this conversation. Share this with your friends so that you can have a conversation with them on this topic as well. And as always, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Have a good one, my friends.